Hey guys, here to do a video review today. I've managed to pull myself away from the PS3, sort of, well, for a little moment anyway, to bring you the review, which of course around the top is on Tomax and Xamot, who are of course the Crimson Guard commanders, and we're going to talk about these 25th anniversary figures, as well as the comic book that came with them, because of course they came in a double pack, a comic pack I should say, and it was quite nicely presented. I'll give you a quick look at the box. It does look more impressive with the characters in it and the comic book behind it, but you know, I'm sure you've seen it in the stores anyway. And as always, they do come with their little file card things as well, which I haven't opened because I don't want to damage or lose them, so they might just stay in there. As for the figures themselves, I've just hold Xamot up because I can't hold both of them up at once. The figures themselves, I'm really liking the body molds, because of course they're brothers. The bodies are identical, they are exactly the same as each other, down to the detail. The only difference between the two is of course where the shoulder pad is, which is a feature which is how you can one feature which is how you can tell them apart, because Xamot has his on the left shoulder here, and Tomax has it on the right shoulder. You know, they do have a nice amount of movement with the wrists that twist, elbows that bend and twist, shoulders that go in and out and go most of the way around, heads on a ball joint, waist, well, top part of the waist moves around, legs are quite nicely done. They've got a little bit of heel movement. If you've got any of the 25th anniversary toys, you'll know what I'm talking about. Again, back to the body molds. It is a good idea for Hasbro to have made them exactly the same, because in the series they were twins, of course. So you know, keeping them the same is doing what they should have done in the first place, and it's also, you know, not a bad way to save yourself a bit of money from a toy design look, because all you have to do is redesign the head and flip around the shoulder pad, so you know, it's quite good. The head, compared to the body, unlike some G.I. Joe figures, is pretty perfect. A lot of G.I. Joe figures have this quite large head that didn't quite match up with the body, but I think for these two figures they've got it pretty nice. I mean, I think it's Tomax. His face is a little more elongated, and it doesn't look quite as nice as Tomax. Sorry, as Xamot, but you know, it's still good. Yeah, that's as much as I can really think to say about the toy in general, but I'll have a quick talk about the comic that came with them, which is issue 36.5, Bad Day at the Circus, which is the first introduction we have to Tomax and Xamot. And we get a little brief well, not really a backstory, but you do get to see where the Joes recognize them from, because the Joe units see them, and they're not evil at the time. They're not doing anything wrong, sorry, but they do recognize the style and stuff. The comic functions more as a prelude to number 37, because obviously it's only half an issue, which is a bit of a downfall in itself, and it's not really good as a standalone issue, because if you haven't read the comics, some of the storylines don't exactly match up. Like the G.I. Joe units are at the docks, and they're driving his tanks around, and if you haven't read the earlier issues, it's not going to make sense. I mean, I haven't read any of the earlier G.I. Joe comics, so to me I was just like, oh well, you know, fair enough, I can kind of assume what they're doing, but you know, I wasn't too happy. It is quite good though, this issue, because it does show that as soon as Tomax and Xamot were introduced into the series, Cobra Commander gave them the job of running the Crimson Guard. And as well as that, you also get to see the Fred Institute, as I like to call it, where they make the Crimson Guards units, because all of the Crimson Guard units are codenamed Fred, because they all look identical. They've been surgically made to look identical. They've been mentally trained to go by the name Fred, and all have the same kind of training, which is quite nice. It's good to see that. And as well as that, it's got a nice little public service announcement on the back, basically telling you that it's alright to break a window as long as you buy the 25th anniversary figures. A bit of a cheap marketing ploy by Hasbro, but you know, it's quite nice. The artwork for the comic is again quite nice, a lot better than the recent G.I. Joe comic stuff. Well, I think so anyway. So yeah, it's a really nice set. We'll move on to the detail part for the figures. So I'll see you for that in a moment.